Welcome to the Something Good podcast, hosted by Renee Mueller, powered by VRLY. This is where we interview top business professionals, industry insiders, operational managers, and thought leaders from around the nation, diving into hot current topics to help you experience something good.
All right, we have Matt leading us.
We do have Matt.
Exactly. We have Nathan Karges with us from Northwestern Mutual on Something Good today. So I think I should have Matt over here. What was that? You are fired.
That's the sound effects.
I knew that's what it was. So again, Nathan Karges with Northwestern Mutual, and I hear you're a rock star on the podcast, on the radio. I think Aaron told me that.
That's back in the day. It's been a while.
Back in the day.
Yeah.
What was back in the day?
4 years, 3 years, I don't know.
Was there a radio interview, or what was it?
Gosh, what was it? So we had used to go on when I was on the Sammys board. And we go on and we do like previous to events or whatever, especially when I was the president. And one time we were on there, and I want to say that Sandy was going to be gone. And so I was like, hey, I'll help out. And
Sandy Fisher?
Yeah.
You can fill her shoes? Wow.
Yeah. So I showed up. I didn't fill any shoes.
She's a big deal.
Yeah, she is a big deal. I didn't realize what it was. I'm like, oh, I'll come in, hang out for an hour or whatever. No. I showed up at like 5 a.m. I had to read the weather.
Oh my gosh, are you serious?
We did like the Runza birthday things
Yeah.
and try to butcher everybody's names, and it was fun.
That's hilarious.
It was probably 3 or 4 hours I was there for the radio.
I was
I'm
told
like,
you
wow.
did good, and you had a lot of ad lib, and so.
Well, that's
so we
want to
test you out and see how it goes.
Oh, there we go.
So,
Yep.
yeah.
So yes, I do enjoy that.
Cool. Good. So you mentioned Sammys. So obviously you're on the Sammys Superheroes board, right?
I was. I'm not. I'm on the. I think we have a name for it, kind of the post board or post laureate, or I don't know what you call it. But yeah, I was on the board for 6 years. Yeah. Maybe a little bit longer than that. I was on the president for a couple of years and was involved. I was one of the first members when they actually went to like the full board, when it was past kind of the people that started in the garage.
Okay.
Me and Aaron and them. So.
Yep. That's pretty awesome. I've seen some of those videos from way back when, because was it I'm trying to think, Kim was one of them,
Kim
right?
Brandenburg.
Okay.
And I think it started in Amy Williams' garage.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking, her garage,
Yep,
okay.
that's where they started it.
It's so awesome.
Yeah, it was, I remember going to the games, and the T-shirts were just starting to pop up, and you get all excited to see people post pictures with T-shirts.
Yep.
So,
and when they're traveling, I still see a lot of that, wherever they are, it's like posting it. I have a lot of people, when I'm wearing them, even now, that will say, oh yeah, that's that Sammy kid, and, kind of tell the story. And I said, yeah, that's from Columbus, where I'm from. And so that's where his family lives. And actually now his mom works with us here at KW.
Yeah,
so,
that's cool.
Yeah, it's very cool. So we love it. So anyway, back to Northwestern Mutual. So tell us a little bit about your journey back to Columbus and what exactly you do at Northwestern Mutual.
My journey.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I've read all sorts of articles, from back in the day. When you and your wife Ashley moved here, and all the traveling you guys did. So
we've been back in Columbus about 10 years now.
Really?
Yeah.
Time flies.
Nuts.
Yeah.
Right? July of 11. And so I've been with Northwestern for 13 years almost.
Okay.
Started in Lincoln. And it's funny, I'm like probably most people that say I'm never going to move back to Columbus.
I was one of them. Which is why I brought it up. So.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like you get out and you realize it's not so bad here.
Yeah.
And it's actually not so bad. It's really good.
Right.
I think is how I would state that. But when we were in Lincoln, I started as I'm a financial advisor with Northwestern Mutual. I grew up in both Columbus and Albion. I was 15 when I moved to Columbus. So kind of both spaces.
Really? So you're not from here then? Your family's not from here?
No, not really.
Okay. I was
a sophomore in high school.
Okay. That had to be hard.
It was actually really good. It's weird because a lot of times people say, well, being that new kid, like I was fully accepted. I went to SCOTUS.
Yeah.
And we didn't miss a beat. In fact, my family moved here before I did. So I'm the oldest of 4. And I stayed to play football in Albion my sophomore year. And I actually sort of played. We weren't very good. I think we were 3 and 6. But I was playing. Well, I come to Columbus, and SCOTUS is in the midst of winning a state championship. But it was cool because I showed up, and I always remember this. So it was Halloween. So second quarter started maybe November 1st or whatever it is.
Right.
My parents moved to Christopher's Cove. I was there. And that night, I'm downstairs playing Super Nintendo or something. And some kids knock on the door like, hey, is Nathan here? Like, I don't know anybody. And so what ended up happening was I went out with a bunch of people that were in my class at SCOTUS that night before we started school. And so instantly had some friends.
That is
I mean,
so
some friends
cool.
I have
they just
today.
showed up?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think kids do that now.
Oh, I don't know what.
Maybe text or something.
Yeah, they probably, Snapchat.
Yeah, that's pretty, yeah, exactly.
But no, they knew
cool.
I was the new kid.
Yeah.
So they came
That's
and
really cool.
came over. I went and hung out with them. The next day went to school. And in fact, for football, I was on the sidelines for the state playoffs. Like I was like a ball boy, helping out, doing whatever.
Water boy
I was
or ball boy?
probably both. I don't know what I was. I mean, I'm like, okay, I'll hang out.
Awesome.
And it was a really good experience.
Yeah.
But, you know, I tell people I'm from both because when I started this career, I was traveling back to Albion, Columbus area all the time. And when I had, you know, I have 2 sets of twins. And at the time, when we decided to make the move, we had Ian and Sophia, who were 3, and Vivian and Samantha, who weren't born yet, but we were pregnant with them. And we kind of made the decision of family, you know, work. It just made sense to move here.
Yeah.
And it's funny, though, because when we were evaluating where to go, we actually were looking at Fremont, too.
Really?
Like, that's different.
Yeah.
Right? Let's go, you know,
And
we're
you have an
still
office
close.
there, I think, don't you?
We do have an
Yeah.
office. We had just opened an office there, and I was doing a lot of work in that office. And we go spend a whole day in Fremont looking at homes, kind of talking about it.
Wasting the realtor's time.
Kinda, yeah. I actually kind of feel bad.
You should. I think you should probably.
She was a
send them something
client.
now.
Well, now 10 years later, sorry. We got, I think, 5 miles outside of town, and Ashley's like, "No, let's move to Columbus." I was like, "Really?" She's like,
Your parents are still there.
her mom's here, my parents are here.
Oh, right, her mom's here. Yeah.
I mean, it just
Made sense.
logistically made sense, and I didn't push her either way because I didn't want her to be resentful of us moving back home.
Smart guy.
And it just turned out, and we came back, and
Had your second set of twins.
second set of twins.
Did you try for a third set?
That's not even funny, Renee. No, we did not. We're good. We're good. We got our 4.
That's awesome.
But it's funny because you know you're in a smaller community when you just get involved.
Yeah.
And I remember going to a football game. So we moved in early July. It was August. I remember going to a football game and running into a couple people, and they're like, "All right, what sport you gonna help coach, or what board you gonna get on?"
Yeah.
And in fact, even like with the Sammy's deal, I'm like, I don't know if I'm ready to jump in, but I did. I got on the Sammy's board. I got on the Simon House board, and the Elks Lodge, like all about the same.
We
time.
love people like you. It's like, yes, new blood. He's
Never
going to get
know when to
involved.
say
do all
no.
this stuff. Right, exactly. Tyler, of course, Maverick is a first grader now. And so he was proud to help coach baseball last year. And pretty much everyone was like, you sealed the deal. You're here for the next 18 years, or whatever. And it's like, yeah, that's the truth. So
it is, but it's great.
Yeah.
Like we had our Paris Festival this past weekend. I was talking to Mike Allen about that, and we're like, yep, it's always, once you say yes, it's like, but on the flip side of it, a lot of times when people say no right away, we don't go ask them again.
Yeah.
It's like, let's keep, I think sometimes the timing's not right. And it
right.
got to the point.
I think that's the business you're in, though. You're like, okay, come on, let's follow
maybe,
up again.
Maybe that's it.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember being around Casey Bayless one time, and somebody was asking something, and he's like, don't bug him. Like, he's on enough right now.
Right.
And so.
And that does happen. I mean, you get completely burned out,
Yeah.
And you can say that in any community that you're in.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, Columbus isn't really the small town that it has been, when I grew up even, I mean, it's changed dramatically, I would say, especially the last 5 years. And so, I think the aim for the community, for the chamber, for anyone else that serves on any of those, city boards, is to get a certain demographic here and to help it grow, and I think really what everyone is doing as a joint effort the last several years has been helping, and now we have more businesses coming here and all sorts of expansions. And like we were just talking before we started this, how the market is, it's not just the residential sector, it's the commercial sector as well, which is good to see. Mm-hmm. So, it's not quite to the level of embarrassment it was 10 years ago when I drive clients around and go, this is Highway 30 and this is,
right.
we don't have anything here and this one's abandoned. And, so now, I mean, it really has taken shape nicely. And so, I think that it's something we should all be proud of, honestly.
Absolutely.
So,
I agree 100%.
Yeah. So then back to Northwestern Mutual. So you had already been working with them and had an office in Fremont and had moved back to Columbus then. So you're running the show there. Tell me your role.
So now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So my role is I'm a financial advisor, but I'm also what's called a managing director. And so I am charged with not only work in my own practice and my own clients, but I have an office in Fremont, an office in Norfolk, and that used to be kind of our Northeast district. So think about those 3 offices where when I first came in, we had just opened this district and I was just part of it. And, as I was longer in the business, realized that I get a lot out of seeing other people develop. And so saying, I had a chance to move and, do this for my family and be in a career that, again, a lot of people are like, well, you need to be Omaha or Lincoln to have success.
That's right. And
you don't need to be.
No.
And so I almost feel like, how can I help others get there? And so I get really geeked up around, kind of like you've been, right? Is developing, giving other people opportunities. And so
creating other leaders,
Absolutely.
So we have offices in Omaha, Lincoln, and all those other areas as well, and that's my favorite piece of it. I think you do sort of grow and evolve and realize you have to sort of pass that baton a little bit and help others step into the shoes that you're in,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so, in that role, I took over this Northeast district 3 years ago now. And just through the way the world works, I actually ended up taking over Grand Island, Kearney, and we have offices in Cambridge and McCook that are under my privy.
Wow.
And so it's kind of the whole state of Nebraska now. We don't have offices in every piece of it, but one of the things that I'm working on, and I have an advisor in St. Paul. And some of these smaller communities, they can make it work. There's really great opportunity.
And are they working like virtually then? And they probably don't have brick and mortar in the smaller areas?
We do.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we have our best office in the States, probably in Cambridge.
Really?
Of all places. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Really nice.
Yeah.
But what you find is that those communities, they don't want to have to go to the bigger city, quote unquote, right?
Right. And that's why I asked, our setup is kind of the same. We have a virtual model as well. So some of those small communities where, you may not have more than 1 or 2 agents, they can log in and be part of our trainings and our sessions and sell right from, whatever coffee shop or house or whatever they're in.
That's exactly the right.
Yeah.
I mean, we have some rules just with FINRA regulations or rules. Suggestion that we have to abide by, but you're right. Just I think even more so with COVID.
Yeah,
it's come to the point where you don't have to. You can meet with clients wherever, virtually, like face to face type of thing.
Yep.
And so that's been exciting. And so I kind of split my roles, and as I look to build kind of my team, and I have team members that are helping me with my personal practice, and some that are on the leadership side, and so trying to find time to do both and make it work. And
that's the fun part, trying to find time. When you figure out how to find it and make it,
it's finding good people, really, is how you find the time.
There you go. That's the key. Finding good people and then keeping good people.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, this is the most competitive, we'll say, job market I've seen, and not that I'm that old, but
right.
As far as having employees, I mean, it is very difficult. And, I've had to change my mindset a little bit too, because part of me wants to say, well, that's because we're in Columbus, who wants to come here? And that is still a portion of it, I think. But there are also a tremendous amount of people that are willing to come here or coming back. And so it's just finding those, luring them here, showing them the opportunity that they didn't know was here,
Right. Well, and I think one of the things that I'd appreciate about you as well, Renee, is like, I don't think it's anymore where you say, hey, here's your job description. Here's what we're going to be doing for the next 20 years. Mm-mm. It's finding good people and saying, here's kind of what I think I want you to do. Yeah. And then we'll see where that leads.
Right.
And 3 months later, it might be the complete opposite. One of my team members, she came in like, I just want to be an app import person. I just want to do paperwork.
Yep.
And now it's like a total 180 around, I want to help lead people. I read this awesome book last week that I want to tell you about.
Yeah. See, that's exactly right.
It's awesome just to give people kind of that runway too.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, that's what, in essence, Matt and I did. We sat down and it was like, I always thought of you as being this, the paper boy, for lack of a better term, and he's like, no, I had a podcast. I had an award-winning podcast in Denver, and it's like, what? And he's in my world for 3 years now, and I'm thinking, why did I not know this? But I think it also goes beyond the job description, and looking at even just the titles. So you say these titles where, people read that and think this is what what I would anticipate this role to be. I mean, this is, 20 years, this title, this is what it's been, and so it's even changing those titles just to something maybe where they'd think outside the box more, but it's hard to find those kind of people, especially, I think, again, in a smaller community,
Right.
I mean, and so it's changing those people's mindsets and really getting the word out there, what's available. Like I said, I've had a lot of people say to me, I had no idea that you even had half the stuff that, you have in your world, and you have these team members that are here and these other businesses. And especially with COVID, I had several people reach out and say, how's business? I mean, you have that big building, and you have, how's that being affected? Because everybody's working from home. And I said, well, not necessarily, and we have kind of a co-share space, we have all these different, people working in here, all these different businesses, and so it works really well, and that adds to the culture too, which is kind of a
Right.
loose term, kind of a big popular word, right? But it works really well. So I love that. That's my favorite thing, is creating those opportunities and showing people that it is available here. So
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. So how many team members do you have, Nathan?
So
and what
we
are their
have
titles?
Well, titles. I mean,
Yeah.
we have 6 people that are financial advisors here in Columbus, and then I have really, I guess, virtually, right? I have Alyssa, who used to be in Columbus, moved to Fremont because her husband actually works in our Omaha office.
Okay.
But she's part of my team too.
Awesome.
So I have 2 other team members that are, their roles anywhere from, again, it's cool because it's not just roles of, hey, you're going to input doing data entry, but they're also help coaching some of my advisors. Because when people first start in this career, I think sometimes in the old world it was like, hey, we're just going to hire anybody and go out and sell.
Yep.
You'll figure it out.
Yep.
Like, we put a lot of effort in training, developing, and accountability and all these
Which
things.
a lot of people don't like.
You know what? And it's funny because, I don't need that. I can do that myself. I know you can.
Right.
I think I have 3 business coaches.
Yeah.
That all help me with different areas
And
of my
I'll
life,
say
and I
that.
still have problems.
Yes, I'm like, I've done this for 20 years, and I still have coaches.
Yes.
You just have to. And if you ever get to a point where you're like, I know it all, then you're just not learning anymore. You just stop growing. So yeah, it is right. It's very similar.
So very, our Fremont office, we have 4 advisors and a couple staff members, and Norfolk we have a couple, and then again spread out kind of throughout the state, we have some different people that we all have found a way, though, through Zoom and conference calls to all be in the same team. Like my advisor out of St. Paul actually uses one of my staff members in Fremont for a lot of his work.
Right.
And so
economies of scale, if you can make it work,
Absolutely.
that's key. That is key. So yeah, we run Matt's butt off. He's advertising for how many companies? So we got this.
Absolutely.
So yeah, okay. So what kind of services, products? I mean, how does someone start if they see Northwestern Mutual? What are you known for? What is it that people can expect?
So what are we known for?
Besides Nate Karges.
Well, duh, right?
Exactly.
Branding. I think in the past we'd been most known for insurance. I guess in the industry we're known for life insurance. We're the largest provider of life insurance in the country.
Okay.
We're the highest rated insurance company by all the different rating agencies.
Okay.
And so I think it's funny though, because like even when I first got in the business, our company's tagline used to be the quiet company.
Really? The Quiet Company?
The Quiet Company. Like literally on the pages of like.
And you went to work for them?
Right? Isn't that funny? Yeah.
What?
Like, who is this
The Quiet
guy?
Company? That's funny.
Yes. But they did that in the fact. So the company itself's been around since 1857. And it was started in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So Milwaukee was northwest at that point. Right? You think about kind of geography. There wasn't a whole lot west.
Yeah.
And so it became for life insurance. And I think the premise behind the Quiet Company is you're not going to see billboards. You're probably not going to see podcasts, whatever. Like it's more about the policyholders because we're a mutual company. You can't buy Northwestern Mutual stock. The only way you become part of the company is to be a client, and then you'll get dividends and different things that go with it. And so it was always about clients and sitting around with them and getting referred to people through that business. But what's happened over time is I think when a couple years after I got into it, we became the what was the term for it? We were the main presenter of the Rose Bowl, right?
Really?
Our CEO that took over is like, hey, we do a good job.
This,
We got to get people to let them know who we're out, and
Right.
it's crazy how in the last probably 10 years, it's totally flipped to where, not that we're on every single ad out there,
Right.
but people know who we are more, and I think the other piece of it is it's not just the insurance, it's also the investments. We're one of the largest independent broker dealers, and so what I tell people is I can sit down with them and have a conversation about their whole financial life and put together a financial plan that might deal with insurance. It might deal with investments. Your brother's an investment person or an insurance person. We don't have to step on toes, like, especially in a small community. I tell people that all day long. I'm like, I'm not here to piss off your neighbor. Right? Yep. If I can help you in some way, great. I'm a young guy going to be here for a while. Maybe I help you in the future with something. Right. And so it's all about financial planning. And, there's tons of statistics out there around people who haven't done it. They want to, but haven't. And
don't know where to start.
Right. They're uncomfortable with where do I go? It's usually a top 10 item that goes to 11 quick because they're just, we have vacation we have to look at. And so, I think that's where, our job and finding people that can come in and have those conversations and sit down and just really just gain relationships. I read today that it's not about the sale, it's about the relationship. And it, just like in your world, like the next time somebody buys a house, if they worked with you before, they're likely going to go to you again.
That's right.
Or vice versa. It's the same thing with us.
It's all about the client.
It is.
And what they want and how to best serve them. And that's grown and evolved. This business is definitely not what it was 20 years ago when I started. So,
right.
And it back to, it's really eerie almost, the similarities. And, I don't like to get into brand so much, but, obviously we're KW. And so, they're not publicly traded. I would say they're more like the quiet company because I have agents even ask now, we don't see the huge signs everywhere or corporate commercials or, radio ads or things like that because they leave it up to the agents individually to spend what they want on that or do what they want as far as advertising, and I like that, I like that mindset, honestly. So that's really interesting that Northwestern is really similar. So
it allows you to run your business.
Yeah.
Right. I think Northwestern's 90 on the Fortune 500 list right now. And which we went up by like 20 spaces over the last year during COVID. We just blew it out of the water as far as breaking records for our company.
Wow.
Partly because I think we're prepared for stuff like that. We're just in the right position to help. But, going back to your point about like individual agents, like people will laugh because we go to Milwaukee. We usually go to Milwaukee every summer. We have to pay for all that. We don't do a bunch of trips. Right. Like these are things that us as independent business owners can decide. I just have Northwestern as my brand.
Right.
At the end of the day, exactly they see Northwestern, but they likely probably see me.
Yeah.
And, there's people that, again, over time appreciate Northwestern, but hopefully they look at it and say, well, it's Nathan or it's Nate or it's his team or it's
Eichmeyer.
It's Eichmeyer. It's Eichmeyer. Right. And that's just it.
Yeah.
And that's what it comes down to. And I think, statistically, people are going to, work with you 7 to 10 times over their career. Mm-hmm. And generally near the end is the bigger of the, the sales, quote unquote. And so our job is really just to develop the relationships and have them be long-standing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Awesome. So do you know where you're at on the scale of, let's say, the offices that are in Nebraska or nationally? Is that a tough question?
Well, it depends what you're looking at. So one of the things that I'd say be proud of is there is, I want to say 72 or 74 what we call offices, district office, or not district offices, main offices in the, Nebraska's 1. California probably has 4 or 5 just because they're so much bigger. So we've been, for the last probably 15 years, what would be considered a strong office as far as development, which there's only like 7 or 8 of the 70-some that are considered strong. So that's always been something we've been really looking at, like, oh my gosh, we're doing a nice job. I mean, one of our taglines that we've kind of internally said is, what the hell's going on in Nebraska? That's what we want people to think.
That's hilarious.
Like people in New York and Chicago, like, Nebraska?
Yeah.
And
it's not for everyone. I think they're changing that maybe. I don't know.
It's weird. Yeah. But whatever. But along with that, we had just, our managing partner who'd been in the seat for 15 years just retired last year, and a woman by the name of Jennifer Braze came in, and I think she's only the 2nd or 3rd female managing partner now currently in the system.
Really?
There's been more before. And she's an absolute stud. And so it's cool to see like where we've been, but then also where we're going.
Yeah.
And it's only
the trajectory.
Keep blowing up, and it's fun to be. In my role, there's 4 of us in the state of Nebraska that are managing directors, and then we report to Jennifer. She's our managing partner. And just the team that we have with us, and including people on our teams, it's really fun to see where it's going to go. And what frankly, what we can do to help our communities. I mean, that's the biggest thing is I've always said I could come out and I could run my own business, have a very successful business, bring on 40 or 50 new clients every year, have a great time. But if I can help 10 or 15 other people do the same thing in their places, holy crap.
That's right. I've had this conversation with numerous recently, and that's exactly right. I had less responsibility. It was easier for sure. Didn't have to worry about as much staff, when I was a solo agent, and probably making more. But I truly love to pass that on to other people as well and watch them and have them come back to me and say, oh my gosh, I can't believe that you gave me this opportunity. I can't believe, what you're able to share and that you're willing to share. And, so many people are so, tight-lipped about everything and keep things close to their chest, as far as these secrets go, and that's my favorite thing to share. It's like, let's all do this together and, be that powerhouse team.
That abundance kind of mentality.
Yes, exactly.
Absolutely.
That's right. Yeah, there's more than enough to go around. So on the note of doing things for the community, and September being Childhood Cancer Awareness Month.
Yep.
Right? Pediatric Cancer Awareness Month. Is that the right time?
Childhood Cancer.
Childhood. Okay. So you have a couple of events coming up for Sammy's, right? And we're co-hosting one of them. I don't know if I'm supposed to mention that or not.
That's fine.
Cut that out, man.
We're having a client appreciation event
Okay.
during the Oklahoma game, so October 18th, which is going to be really cool. So, how was it? 4 or 5 years ago, we did an event at the Husker Hangar. With Kim Wolf was awesome. In fact,
I think I brought Sean up to that. I think
Yep. So we had Sean Callahan, kind of the Husker.
That was a good event. He's a good speaker.
Oh, great speaker.
Yeah.
Kim went out and picked him up in the helicopter, brought him here.
Yep.
So we were looking for. Well, what we did is we actually have rented a huge TV screen that's on a truck that in 4 different locations throughout the state we're doing this for.
Oh.
It's funny. Part of the reason we're doing this is over the years we've always done a tailgate party in Lincoln before a game. And it's always like, for me especially, with just how busy we are with kids, and I don't know if I really care about going to the game, and it's an hour and a half, and yada, yada, yada.
Right.
And so they're like, let's just do something for the different communities. And so what we did is we rented these trucks that we are going to have, and then we're going to have it in our local space. And so we're doing this in Columbus. We're going to invite some clients and some friends of Sammy's, and it's going to be a donation back to Sammy Superheroes. We're not earning anything from it. We're going to have some raffles. In fact, Apollo, who now runs the helicopter hangar there, they're going to donate a helicopter ride, and we're going to bring in, Runza's donating food, and Bo's Wet. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's what's awesome about it is when we first looked at this, like, well, what should we do? Where should we go? Obviously we're going to get back to Sammy's, which I can talk more about kind of our relationship with Sammy's. But once we started getting in, the amount of people that were like, oh yeah, we'll give you this. We'll do this for you. Yeah, no problem.
I go back to that all the time, Nathan. This community is great about that. You know? Yeah, they really are. So
it's cool. It's cool. And so what we're going to do is, again, it's going to be a fundraiser. So we're going to have some different raffle tickets and some different things. And if we raise at least $2,500, or Northwestern will match up to $2,500 towards whatever we raise.
Okay.
Anything above that is just gravy that just goes back to Sammy's. And originally when we started talking about this, there was not going to be any other Sammy's events for September. Well, not locally.
Okay.
Will Gold's going on the next day, actually 19th in Omaha.
Oh, that's right, because Erin said I'm exhausted. Yeah.
Yep, it's going to be crazy. But then the next week we are doing, Sammy's is doing a golf tournament.
Yeah. Yeah, we have 2 sponsors, I think, in our office, if I remember right, for that tournament. So,
So
it'll be fun.
It's cool. I mean, just the outpouring and the willingness for people to get engaged with this is pretty awesome. Yeah, we've got our lights gold out here outside the building, and it's pretty cool to do stuff like that. So, and again, just because they're from here, but it's just a great organization. So, it's
I think
awesome.
Erin's fortunate enough to have that support from family and friends, and see what it's turned into. Again, it's big.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So golf tournament. Anything else in September?
I'm sure there's things.
Sure.
Not being not on the board anymore, I don't get all the inside details as far as things, but
sure. It sounds like Erin, if I can give a plug to them too, was looking for someone to help fill her shoes, wasn't she?
Oh, well, she's always been looking for someone.
Has she? Yeah. I mean, she's been busy with.
It's like everything else with, you need just some different blood sometimes with not that she needs to leave, but just different blood and different boards and different ideas to come in.
Well, we need her here, see.
Well, absolutely.
It's like, which is more important,
Right,
she's helping all these families
both.
And she's helping hers. Yeah, I mean, both, but yeah, I know it's a stretch, just like you said, everybody else, they're pressed for time and trying to find talent and people who are as devoted. You know,
Right.
I don't know if that would happen. You know, somebody's devoted as her and the other members of the board. But yeah, so all right, cool. Well, anything else as far as events you have coming up, or anything else that you want to share?
I don't know. Is it anything that we should share, Matt? What do you think? Anything else that's?
How can they find you?
How can they? Well, you can, down the street.
Which street are we on? Let's see. Nate
I don't
Karges.
even know what street we're on. So we're actually across the street from the hospital.
Okay.
So we don't have great signage out front, but
I've noticed that.
yeah, I know. We were.
You need like a bat light.
A bat light.
NW.
There you go. Yeah, we probably need to get some signage, but people
know how to find you, right?
They know how to find us. I mean, Google my name, Google Northwestern Mutual.
Here's a question. I would venture to guess you probably don't have many walk-ins anyway, right? People call and get online. And
not really. Yeah, I mean, the majority of our business in this world is from referrals. It's from,
isn't that crazy?
Sitting down with you and saying, hey, I know somebody else that really should talk to you, or me talking to you about people. That's why we were called the Quiet Company. Is because it was literally that, because again, most people aren't going to drive by a billboard and say, hey, I need to buy disability insurance. I'm going to call that person. No, it's
the referrals. Yeah.
It's
people are going to work with you because they know, like, and trust you.
That's exactly
and someone
right.
else says, hey, I know, like, and trust Nathan. So yeah.
And so
cool.
you hope that, you have a good brand behind you to help with that. And you have a good, business ethic and work ethic, I guess. But I think the other piece about it is, whether it's Sammy's or it's coaching football or doing whatever, I think one of the things that I'm always asking of our advisors is to get involved.
Yep.
Go join a board, go do,
Yeah.
go
we
work.
do the same, and I'm proud of that.
Yeah.
We talk about that just about every week at our meetings here. Everyone is involved. Even, Matt's wife is one of our employees. She does our transaction coordination, and she's involved in a couple of boards. And that was one of the questions when she started, is that okay? And I said, it's more than okay. We encourage it.
Right.
Go be involved in something. So
Yep.
that's awesome. So good deal. Well, how's the new house, by the way?
It's good.
Is it?
It's
Did you get
good.
your dirt off my lot?
No.
Are you looking for a new neighbor?
You know what? I am.
Are you?
I need.
I hear there's a piece of dirt over there.
There is a piece of dirt.
Yeah.
No, it's great.
Good.
It's since we've been up there, I played a lot more golf. I just
I was
love
hoping to
looking
hear
out the
that.
course and be like, hey, nobody's out there. I'm gonna go, and I'll go out and play 4 or 5 holes. And
Yeah.
if I
See,
can
and
get
that was
more
my
in.
hope with buying that lot on the golf course too. Is that Tyler and Mav are like, they should be pro by now. Just
Right.
go out there if nobody's out there.
It-
Hit some balls.
And it's awesome, and they're supportive of it. I remember
Yeah.
I was talking to the pro Mikey about it before we even moved. He's like, oh yeah, you could go do this route, or you could do that route, and
That's awesome.
and my best purchase
Get your
was
souped up golf cart and
right. Well, that's just it. I think that's probably my best purchase is
Yeah.
that golf cart.
Yeah,
Is holy
right.
crap, just you
Yep.
can get a quick
I love
round
it.
in, and the kids love it, and the kids are loving golf too.
That's
like, hey
awesome.
Dad, we can go out. Like,
Yeah.
I was I think it was before the Simple tournament or another tournament I was in a couple weeks ago or a few weeks ago, and I'm like, I just gotta go out and just play. I gotta get some practice in. And and the kids are like, well, we want to go. I'm like, we're just gonna go sit. And we get to the first tee box, and Vivian gets out, and she gets her club, and she's putting her little glove on. She gets her tee, and I was like,
Oh.
what are you doing? She's like, well, I want to play. I'm like,
All right.
fair enough, let's go.
That's adorable.
And that was awesome.
Yeah.
Because then they love doing it. They go
Yep.
out, and I told them the other day, I'm like, you should just go play by yourself, guys.
Yeah. That's
And
awesome.
so they're going to get there. But
Good.
It's awesome. Love it.
Yeah.
Great neighborhood. Tons
Good.
of kids.
Yeah. I love
So-
it. I love it. Every time I drive up there too, it's the same.
Yeah.
The kids are biking around the street. So that's amazing. Good. Well, anything else that you want to add, or?
We're good. No, I appreciate it.
Well,
This was
good.
fun.
Yeah, this was awesome. So if you want to add anything, we'll let Matt know, and
Okay,
we'll
cool.
have you on again soon.
That sounds good.
See ya on the 18th.
There we go. 18, 11 o'clock.
Alrighty.